Right. Apologies for the delay. There's been a bit of a technical issue here. The plan was for myself and a colleague, one of our property managers, to do this presentation with the help of Zoom. However, we had this technical issue and we weren't able to go live. So here I am on my own doing this presentation, which is aimed at tenants. The situation is that at Knockdighton we manage about over 700 properties, 700 tenancies, and we have been inundated with numerous inquiries from tenants and landlords over the last few weeks with regards to current circumstances with the coronavirus, and with rent payments and lots of queries. So we thought it would be an idea to do this session on Facebook Live, just to answer any questions that tenants may have with regards to their circumstances and rent payments, etc. So what we have done is we've prepared a few questions beforehand, frequently asked questions from tenants, so that I can just sort of go ahead and give you the answers to those. And then at the same time, if anybody has any specific questions, then we can answer those at the end. And we can also give some websites, helpful areas for people to refer to afterwards, which we'll put up on Facebook. So the first question that we have is, can I have or am I entitled to a rent payment holiday? In accordance with government guidance, tenants should continue to pay their rent to the best of their ability. No rent payment holidays have been put into place. However, the government have put into place many schemes to help everyone to prevent unemployment as much as possible and to help people pay their rent and their bills. First of all, there is the furlough scheme, which employees have been able to claim from the government 80% of employee salaries to enable to keep their employees in employment so that they can continue to pay their rent and their bills and their mortgages, etc., which is helping a large majority of the country. There are other circumstances where people have been made redundant due to situations with their employers, and other schemes have been put into place, first of all with regards to universal credits, which is now more available to people. So in the first instance, people should go to the local authority to claim for universal credit and to see what eligibility they have. But with regards to paying rent, then the best thing to do is to contact your landlord or your agent in the first instance to explain your circumstances. What we're doing with our tenants is we have a standard form now for people to complete, which asks for all the details with regards to your employment status and your other income and outgoings, number of people living in the property. So what you should do is contact your landlord or your agent to give them all that information so that they can actually review the situation and see what opportunities there are with regards to rent payments. In some circumstances, landlords are able to look at reviewing the rent, making a reduction on the rent depending on their own circumstances and depending on the tenant's circumstances, so that they can defer the rent payments to make it possible to repay them at a later date. But we know that no landlord and no tenant wants to be in arrears, and no landlord wants to lose their tenants. So the best thing to do is communicate and keep in touch as much as you possibly can to see if we can all work through this and come out of it the other end and to carry on. So that's the answer to that one. The second question is with regards to, similar to the first, but it's with regards to mortgage holidays. So we've had lots of questions come from tenants saying, if my landlord can have a mortgage holiday, why can't I have a rent payment holiday? Well, mortgage holidays are available to a lot of people in certain circumstances who are suffering financial hardship, where people can apply for a mortgage holiday. But a mortgage holiday is not non-payment of a mortgage. It can be a reduction of mortgage payments, and it's in all circumstances it will be a deferment of mortgage payments. So at the end of the agreed period, people still have to repay the mortgage and increase their payments, and it does depend on each mortgage lender what agreements are available or what can be available to them. So similar situation where if a landlord can agree a mortgage holiday, then they might be in a position to agree a rent payment holiday to their tenant as such, which will mean that the rent payments will be payable at the end of the period, and a payment plan can be put into place. The next question we're asked is, do I have to pay my council tax if I am furloughed or if I have reduced or no income? Well, again, that does depend on your circumstances. So it will really, you will need to contact your local council to find out whether you are eligible for reduced or non-payment of council tax, depending on your financial circumstances. So it really does depend from council to council. I know with the properties that we manage, we deal with 4 different local authorities. So, and each one is different. But again, at the end of this, we can give the links to all of the websites, the local authority websites with regards to council tax payments. The next question is, do I have to allow access for gas safety inspections or for maintenance? Well, landlord gas safety checks are a legal requirement specifically for the safety of tenants. So what we're advising to our landlords and tenants is that we need to arrange access for the gas safety inspection to be done. There is no changes to the legislation depending on in the coronavirus period. So the gas inspections still do need to be done. But obviously some tenants are a little bit nervous about allowing access for other people to come into the house due to social distancing. It might be that they're self-isolating, or they've got elderly or vulnerable people in the property. So again, we're just asking people to communicate with us. All we need to do is make a note. We're not forcing entry. Nobody can force entry on any property. So it is in the best interests of the tenant to allow access for the gas safety inspection to be done. But if that's not possible, then we can delay it. But we will need to keep in touch to make sure it's done as soon as possible. If you are not self-isolating, again, we would say it's in your best interest to accommodate some access. You can be in another room or on another floor or wait outside in the garden. The gas engineers, I know that we're using, they're sort of wearing sort of protective gear, making sure that they are sort of keeping a safe distance from people, making sure everything's sort of clean, and they're sort of accessing just the areas that they need to. And again, that's the same with general maintenance. What we're doing is we can carry out urgent maintenance on properties. Obviously, if you've got water coming through your ceiling or a boiler breakdown or lack of hot water, then we would consider that to be urgent access. So again, we do need an engineer to get into the property, and we can just make sure that it is sort of safe to do so and social distancing guidelines are used. With regards to anything that's not considered to be urgent maintenance, again, always make sure you're letting your landlord or your agent know about it, and then we can assess whether it is urgent or not, and we can carry out the works after that once lockdown is over, and when it's safer to arrange for the maintenance to be done. The other question that we're asked is, can I still view a property to move into, and can I still move? What we're doing is, again, with following government guidelines, it is not considered essential for people to travel to view properties during the stay-at-home period. What we're able to do is, with the properties that we're marketing, is and all the inquiries that we're receiving, we're making a note of, and we are registering the details on file and contacting whoever's inquiring about the property so that we can arrange viewings as soon as lockdown is over. There are still people, we can still arrange tenancies for those essential movers. So anyone who is in a situation where the property is uninhabitable, for instance, or for domestic violence, or for any other reason where people need to move, key workers who might need to relocate for their job moves. So we are still able to arrange for new tenancies in those circumstances for what's considered to be essential movers. But also bear in mind that a lot of the removal companies have been advised to cease trading at the moment during this period. So it is not easy for anybody to move at this moment in time. But again, we're still marketing properties and we're still able to register potential tenants. So as soon as lockdown is over, we've got a list of people that want to view properties, and we can continue viewings after that and arrange for new tenancies to go ahead. Another question we're asked is on vacating properties. We've got people who have approached us and said that they were due to move out, they were due to move house, but they can't do so now. So can they still stay in the property, and do they still have to pay rent? Yes, in most circumstances, that's absolutely fine. We can understand, everyone understands the situation with regards to what's happened at the moment and the stay-at-home period and the difficulties that people are having in moving house. We are able to, again, speak to landlords and rearrange things. Again, just put things on pause. You can still make arrangements for removals, at a later date, and this still can be accommodated. But it's just at the moment it is quite difficult to do so. But if you are staying in a property after your original agreed move out date, then your rent is still payable until the day that you move out. So that's the main questions that we are approached with, and the main advice that we have to everyone is to communicate, because as I said in the first instance, tenants don't want to be in arrears, landlords don't want their tenants to move out, and the world must keep turning. So our advice is to keep communicating, and there's always a way around things as long as we can still do that. So I'm just going to check to see if we've got any comments or any other questions since I've been on this. I don't appear to have any. But again, once this video has ended, then everything will be recorded and will be put on our Facebook page. So any questions after that can be put forward, and we'll always answer the questions that we have. Again, contact us through our website or through our emails, and our main telephone numbers. We're in contact, so please do get in touch. And as I said earlier, we will be putting all of the websites and helpful, useful places to contact to help people as we go along. So thank you very much for